This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Your RV guide for Oklahoma and beyond. Give us a call at 918-460-KRMG. Now, let's hit the road.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Camping with Wade's RV. This is 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. I'm Skyler Cooper. Happy Saturday afternoon. A gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Great day to go out and do some camping, or at least learn about some camping, and that's what we're going to talk about today on the show. Joined by Willy D live at Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. Willy D, you've had a busy day.
So I had to take a little break from the heat and come on in and cool down a little bit. So I got me a nice ice cold water, and we just did our first class of camper college. So what we did was we had a lot of folks out here, some veteran RVers, also some newbie RVers, and we did kind of a little walk around program. So we started at the very front of a travel trailer, and we talked about how to hitch up a travel trailer, how to make sure that you're pinned up, you're secure, you're going to make sure that you're traveling down the road nice and safe. And we went all the way around that camper, and we came back to the sewer dump, and we had even a visual demonstration with that. And so it was really, really cool, but we're having a great day out here answering anyone's questions that they have on RVs, walking them around the RVs. I have a motorhome. It's about 28 foot long, so it's a really nice, great entry-level camper. And then we also have a Catalina out there, which is a bunkhouse, has an outdoor kitchen, really, really great unit. And then we have one of my favorites is the all-new Sabre, and this is a brand new floor plan that they came out with, and this is going to be a fifth wheel, and I have all of these up on the front line, so it's kind of like a little open house scenario. So if you're wanting to come by, take a look at some RVs, no pressure, no salesman, you can come on out and take a look at these units. They're really great, and they're priced to sell. I didn't put them up there on the front lot just to have them sit there, so we have these units priced to sell. Come on out and see us. We're going to be out here today until 5 p.m., and then if you want to come see us during the week, we're open until 6, and we're located at 161st and Highway 75. So come on out, see Willy D, and then I also have Miss Brenda, the queen bee of RV. She's out here as well. She does RV inspections, but more importantly, she is the brand ambassador for this side of Oklahoma for girl campers. So we're going to have her on the show here in a little bit. I'm really looking forward to this week's program. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have lots of fun, and we're going to learn a lot about camping and how the RV and lifestyle could appeal to you.
Yeah, join us for the show. If you want to call us, it's 918-460-KRMG, 918-460-5764. Willy D can answer all your camping questions, or if you're trying to get your camper ready for fall camping, which is a great time of year to get out and do that, and you got some issues, something's broken, or you want to know how to upgrade it, Willy D can answer that for you. Just get on the phone and join the show. You can also text us. The number is 70123. Make sure you start your text with the letters KRMG, and then you ask your question and send that to 70123. We'll be happy to answer that for you. And today we will be talking with Miss Brenda Puckett again here a little bit later in the show and learn more about that and how everything is going with Girl Camper and the Camper College at Wade's RV. We've talked a lot about, Willy D, how fall camping is just going to be a whole different experience this year for a couple of reasons. One, the RV world has seen the surge that it's basically never seen, and the weather is going to be so great. People are looking for ways to remain distant and go out there and do some new activities because of this weird year that we're living in. And it's going to be a great time for it because the weather's cooling down. I know you guys are always adjusting and updating your inventory, and it's a great time of year for people to shop because you guys are getting ready to stock up on 2021s. What are some of your great 2020 deals today?
A lot of units coming in right now. Actually, during our first class of camper college, we actually had 2 units arrive while we were doing the school. So we had an Aspen Trail roll in, and we also had a Sabre roll in. But you're right, I have some great deals on some 2020s that are left, and some of my favorite ones that are left as well. So we have a couple. I think we only have 3 of the Newmar Baystars left that are from 2020, and these things are discounted massively. I mean, huge. I was looking at one the other day. I think it's the 3669. And that particular floor plan had been marked down $20,000. So these aren't small numbers. These aren't tens and twenties. We're talking about tens and $20,000. So if you're looking for a gas motorhome, this one very may well have your name on it. And all of these 2020s have been marked down to sell because we do have those 2021s rolling on the lot, and you're not going to miss out on anything. What's really cool about the RV world is whenever they roll out the new years, they're literally just rolling out a new year. Typically, they do the modifications for the designs and things through halfway through through that model year. So if you get a 2020, you're going to have the same design as a 2021 in most cases. So it's a really great time to take advantage of extra savings because they've been sitting here. We've had them on the lot, so we've been paying interest on it. And so we don't want to pay interest any more than we have to. So we're looking to make a deal on these units. I have a couple different travel trailers out there. I have a few of the North Trails, and those have a 4-inch foam roof, and then they have a 3-inch foam floor and a 2-inch foam wall. So if you're looking for a Yeti, this is your Yeti RV, you might say. So it's really great, and we have a couple of those left. We also have our very famous Vibes, and those are styled up at the highest level of styling. So if you're looking for a little bit more of a modern RV, the Vibes have got you covered, and those are full wall insulated as well. And then, as I've talked about, I have that Catalina, which is up on our front middle demo pad, which is a great floor plan. It has the bunks in the back. It has a full shower. It has a nice queen-size bed up in the front. But one of my favorite features is they started putting a 12-volt fridge in there, and then we also have an electric fireplace. So that electric fireplace is going to be super great because you're not going to have to use necessarily propane all the time. I'm a guy that has made a mistake and not necessarily checked my propane right before I went out, and so that electric fireplace is going to really help you. And then also you have an electric water heater as well, so you're not going to have to worry about those extra different resources. You could very much just go out and run off of electric. So we have lots of these different units out here. Come on in and say, show me your very best deal, and we'll lead you the right direction.
Hey, let's talk about that insulation a little bit because not only is it's got a multifaceted purpose. It's not only going to be a great thing for going down the road and keeping the road noise down, but fall camping, going into winter camping, it gets cold at night, and it'll keep you warm too.
Yes, it'll absolutely keep you warm. It'll keep you warm in the winter, and it'll keep you cool in the summer. And so that's really important. But like you said, that road noise, whenever you're going down the road, whenever we're talking about Newmar and Integra, they do so many different things that transition all the way from the tires all the way up to your cab. So you're going to have less road noise. And so the more insulation you're going to have, it's going to be the less noise you're going to have inside that actual unit, and the more of a pleasurable experience you're going to have going down the road, listening to some Kenny Rogers or some Leonard Skinner or whatever you like. You can listen to those tunes and have a great conversation with your friends and family as well. That's what I always look forward to whenever I'm going camping, is hanging out with my friends and family, because it's not necessarily just about the destination. It's about the journey as well, and turning those miles into memories. That's what we do here at Wade's RV. And if you're looking to do the same thing, come on out and see us. We have RVs that start as low as $100 a month. It's incredible. And we have RVs that go up all the way to about $500,000. So if you're looking big or small, as I say, we got them all.
All right, you're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. Let's bring in our guest today, Brenda Puckett. She is with Girl Camper, and today taking part in the Camper College at Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. Brenda, welcome back. We previewed this event a couple of weeks ago, and I'm glad you're in town and having a good time down there with Willy D at Wade's RV. How's everything been going today?
It's awesome. Thanks for having me back. We are so excited for this first Girl Camper event in eastern Oklahoma. These are actually nationally held events, and this is our first time to do one in Oklahoma, and we're just thrilled to pair it with Wade's RV and Willy D.
And I know it's not exclusively for girls, but it is called Girl Camper. Describe the mission statement behind Girl Camper.
Girl Camper itself it's been around a while. We're fairly new in this area. People are just finding out about us. Girl Camper brand was founded in 2015 by a lady named Janine Pettit. She's out of the New Jersey area, and it is a multimedia digital platform. She has, I found out about her several years ago when I started girl camping myself, because I was a fangirl of her podcast, which is fantastic. She's up over 200 episodes now. She also has a magazine that they just launched this year. I was in the inaugural issue. It was great fun. It's a beautiful magazine. It comes out quarterly. And then they also have a website. The website is there's so many things out there for you. There's resources, there are people that they're interviewing, there's blogs, there's events, there's all kinds of fun things happening. The events are really starting to kick into gear. People are just clamoring to go RVing right now. And like you said, it's men and women, and we have a lot of girl campers that do have spouses or partners that sometimes camp solo. So really what Janine wanted to do was just show that there is no wrong way to camp like a girl. That has been her mission since she started, and she just brings together all kinds of people with all kinds of knowledge to help girls learn how to get started, which is exactly what Willy D helped all of us do today, and we're still helping people out here now.
It's Camping with Wade's RV. We need to take a break. You're listening to KRMG. I'm Skyler Cooper, joined by Willy D and Brenda Puckett. They're down there at Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. When we get back, we'll learn a little bit more about what Brenda does. It's a really interesting job, and it's so cool what she can do to help you buy an RV. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Camping with Wade's RV every Saturday at noon on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Welcome back. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. It's 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. I'm Skyler Cooper, joined by Willy D down at Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. Brenda Puckett is also down there today. She is with Girl Camper, and we're going to learn more about what she does for you, the RV shopper and buyer, here in just a minute. Remember, you can join the show if you have questions about camping or RVs. It's 918-460-KRMG, 918-460-5764. You can also send us a text, type KRMG, and then your question or comment, send it to 70123. Willy D, I know that you were taking sort of reservations for this because we don't want to get too many people down there all at once, and you got to keep the class sizes small. But what are people most interested in? You guys had a whole swath of things to teach today, and I'm sure there are some people who come in and say, this is the one thing I just don't know how to do, and I need to learn it. I know you really wanted to teach people how to do the dumping of the tanks, and that's probably a big one.
Yes, that was a big one for us today, but I would say the most questions really were involved with how to hitch up a travel trailer and then, dumping and things. Whenever it comes up to hitching up a travel trailer, it is a simple process, but it's also one that you need to take the steps with. Whenever you're talking about the steps, there's a couple different ones. For one, you're going to have chains, you're going to have breakaways, and then you're also going to have multiple different sets of pins themselves. So we went over all the different steps that you need to take from the very first step, which is making sure you actually have a hitch attached to your truck, to going ahead and putting that trailer onto the truck itself, putting it down to make sure that you would be nice and safe going down the road. So we had lots of questions about that. We made sure everyone was crystal clear. Everyone actually got, a hands-on demonstration. If they wanted to come up and actually hitch it up themselves, they were able to do that. So they knew exactly the process. We made sure to take lots of time on that. Also, how to level or stabilize your trailer. That was another question that was brought up many times. And whenever you're talking about travel trailers, 99.9% of the time is they're not going to have auto leveling. They're actually going to have stabilizers. And whenever you're talking about leveling, usually you're going to drive your travel trailer up onto some blocks to go ahead and bring one side up to make sure it's exactly level. We went over the stabilizer jacks, and we talked about manual jacks. We talked about power jacks and gave a demonstration on that as well. One trick that I always do with the manual jacks is I always bring a handheld drill with me. That way I can stick it on there and run it down very quickly and make sure it's nice and solid into the ground whenever I'm setting up my foundation. So we covered lots of different things like that. And then we went over to the dumping station, and it was pretty cool. I gotta, kind of brag on myself a little bit. We had the dump tanks. We had them full so people could really see what it was about. I used a little bit of dye, and so I dyed the tank so you quite literally had black water coming out of a black tank. And then we also had the gray water to show exactly how it would clean up. And so hopefully I didn't dye the grass green, or I guess a dark green or a dark black, but we'll see what happens at the end of the day. But it was just water, so no one had to worry. There wasn't actual real waste. But we went over tips with how to dump. One thing that I know I always check to make sure is I make sure that my tank dump valves are actually closed. The last thing you want to do is take off that sewer cap and have it all start flowing out at you. So we started and we talked about every little tip that you might need. And then we had a great question and answer session afterwards. That way we could get everyone's questions answered. And we actually had to take a little break. We had such a great attendance out here. We actually had to step away from a couple people and come over here and kind of do the radio show. And just as soon as we're done, we're going to be right back up front answering questions and making sure people are getting to see these great units, but make sure they understand them as well. If you haven't ever RV'd before, you probably have a few questions. How does this operate? Is the engine part of it tied to the coach part of it? How do I hitch up? How do I use this outdoor kitchen? Can I make an outdoor kitchen? Any question that you might have, give us a call today, or come on up here, better yet, and see us here at Wade's RV. We're located at 161st and Highway 75, just 5 minutes south of Tulsa Hills, and our phone number is 918-291-1011. You can always give us a call, and we'll get all those questions answered.
You want to make sure you close those valves. You don't want to go Dave Matthews on anybody here. We're trying to keep
Absolutely
the environment clean.
Yes.
Hey, let's bring Brenda back in here. Brenda, it's so cool to hear you talk about Girl Camper and everything that you do for the industry. And I want to remind folks, if they weren't listening a couple of weeks ago, the service you provide for people who are looking to buy an RV, this is really valuable stuff.
Thank you. Yes. I own another business called Queen Bee RV Inspections. I'm a certified level 2 RV inspector, and I had never heard of such a thing. Most people have not until I became certified. It's just like what you would get for your residential home, except for your camper. It's very in-depth. Whenever the crews come out to look at a residential home, they might be there a couple of hours. I am there literally all day, depending on the size of the rig. It is over 500, 600 points of inspection, hundreds of pictures and videos, and I am in every nook and cranny of that rig. I am up on the roof, underneath, looking at running gear, looking at the tires, all of the systems, propane, electric. I'm looking at the safety systems, everything inside and out, just making sure that it's operating the way it was intended to. And people are usually hiring me pre-purchase. So it's a lot of buyers that end up calling me. I do inspections for other types of customers as well, but mostly it's buyers that want some kind of neutral outside party to look it over, lay eyes on it, and give them some peace of mind on what they're negotiating and what they're purchasing.
It'd be a great thing for someone who, I know Willy D has said that so many people come from far away to Wade's RV to buy an RV, and if they can get a hold of you and say, please check this out, and I can trust your opinion and your expertise and your knowledge before I make that drive to pick it up, that's invaluable.
You're exactly right, and that's how I met Willy D and Wade's RV. Is I did an inspection here for a couple from Washington, D.C., and they don't know our dealerships in the area, so they don't know how awesome Wade's is, and they wanted somebody else, like I said, a neutral party, to come and take a look. And then I sent them the report, and they decided to go ahead and negotiate the deal. Came out here, and they even got to camp on site in the front lot here and learn how to run their rig. They bought a big fifth wheel, and the guys here helped them. They got to stay a couple of nights and learn everything that there was to know about that camper. But you're right, it's a lot of people from out of state. I'm now starting to get calls from people locally, too, and a lot of shoppers from here at Wade's, just to give them that peace of mind.
We'll hear more from Brenda after we take a break for the bottom of the hour news. And I want to talk to Willy D about the benefit to them for this kind of service, because that's a great thing for the dealer too, to say, look, you can have this person in here to say we trust them and get a great deal there. So we'll talk more with Brenda and Willy D with Wade's RV as we return. This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG.
This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Welcome back. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. I'm Skyler Cooper, joined by Willy D down at Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. You can give them a call, 918-291-1011. And you can give us a call if you want to join the show. Camping questions, RV questions. You got two experts on the show today. It's 918-460-KRMG. 460-5764, or text us 70123. Start your message with KRMG and then your question. Send that to 70123. So before the break, we were talking with Miss Brenda Puckett, and she is going to talk a little bit more about how the inspections that she does really helps the buyer. But first, I want to ask Willy D about that. You guys partner up, and this is a great way for you to vindicate what you guys say. I mean, you can have a customer really know for sure after they've had an independent person look at these things and say, yep, that's what I would buy. And that makes you guys comfortable too, right?
Absolutely. Here at Wade's RV, we have a couple different policies that really set us apart. Whenever you buy a used unit here at Wade's RV, you're going to get a demo on that. So what that means is we're going to show you exactly how to use that unit, but it also means that if it's less than 10 years old, we're going to go ahead and run that through the shop. So that means it's going to go through a full 41-point inspection to guarantee that everything in there is going to work. And then whenever you do come to your demo, you can actually see hands-on that it's working for yourself. Now, Brenda comes into play is, just like you said earlier, is say you're looking at this RV from out of state. One thing that we really thrive on here at Wade's RV is total transparency. And so a lot of times whenever we have people from out of state, we will do video walkarounds. We'll send them lots of pictures. And one of my favorite things that we do is we actually do drone shots of the roofs. And so that way they can see the roof. For one, it's a lot safer than having customers get up there and take a look at it themselves. But that way they can really see what the roof condition's like, if there's any problems, any patches, anything like that. And so with our total transparency policy, it makes it really, really handy, because I can't tell you how many times I've been working on selling an RV and they say, hey, do you know an inspector? And until we met Brenda, I did not necessarily have one that I would just recommend. I would just say, well, you can get online and you can find a couple. And just like it's important to find the right RV dealership that's going to take care of you before and after the sale, here at Wade's RV, that's what we're about, is creating those relationships with our customers. Wade started when he was only 18 years old, washing units in a wash bay, and started meeting customers. And whenever he went out and to it doing his own thing here at Wade's RV, I was talking to a customer he has known for over 20 years. And he said, yeah, Wade was a little nervous whenever he went out on his own. But I told him, if you do business the right way and you take care of your customers, the rest will take care of itself. And that's how we've become Oklahoma's largest RV dealership, but also Oklahoma's only full service dealership. So just like it's important to find someone that will take care of you, it's important that you find a reputable inspector. And so Miss Brenda, she is a very reputable inspector, and she was telling me the other day that I think the list is about 500 different points that she goes over and inspects, and she takes all those pictures and videos to make sure that you, the customer, are going to be totally satisfied and make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. If the water heater's broken, guess what? You may get a discount on it. So if you know that ahead of time, it can be a great negotiating tool for you, the customer. And guess what? If you're listening from out of state, go ahead, look at our used selection, because you're going to have the peace of mind buying from Wade's RV, because our selection is clean and it's quality and it's priced right, as I always say. And if you want that second or third opinion, go ahead and give Brenda a call and she can get you all squared away. And one thing I forgot, I'm looking right out the door. If you come by Wade's RV today, I have the folks from Hot Diggity Dog out here making hot dogs. I think they're doing breakfast all day too. So if you want a little breakfast, they got it out here. So come on out here and help support them. They're a local business. That's one thing I'm always trying to do, is get local. And so it was really cool that they're out here helping us out. And Michael, he actually works here at Wade's RV in the parts department. So it's really cool. We're helping out our Wade's family, and we're also helping out the people out here in the community. So come on out here and see us today. We'll be open until 5 p.m. or give us a call at 918-291-1011.
Brenda, with 500 points of inspection, I'm sure that you encounter those units once in a while that do not have a passing grade. Is there something that's pretty common, maybe a top couple of items that are the biggest reasons you might warn someone, hey, this isn't the one for you?
That is a really good question. And much like a home inspection, it's not really so much of a passing grade. It's giving you the information to make an informed decision. And you're right. There are things, I would say there's one that I could think of recently that I did not even get to begin the inspection. And this RV was not at Wade's. Just let me point that out. I did not get to begin the inspection because the entire rear cap of this travel trailer, or fifth wheel, had water rot. It was completely soft and spongy because there was a big gaping hole in some of the sealant on the roof. And that's probably one of the bigger things that most people wouldn't know what to look for, and they don't crawl around up there. So I spend a lot of time up there when I first get to the inspection. That's a big one. Water intrusion points. I've found some things recently about uneven wear on tires, and looking at the running gear, if there's excessive rust and things like that. Just electrical, really, and I've heard this quite a bit, especially whenever I was at inspector school. The majority of the problems that happen with any kind of rig, whether it's motorized or a towable, are electrical. So I do a lot of that, those points over the whole inspection, and that would have to do with the electric that supplies power to all of your systems, your appliances, as well as the lights and the rest of the trailer itself. So those are probably some of the bigger ones.
Willy D, I'm sure it's your goal to not have any of those kind of things in your used selection to begin with.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like I said, we have that 42-point inspection to see exactly with the systems that are in place of, make sure all the main systems, you're talking stoves, air conditioners, electrical, there's so many different things to check. That's going to check most of those, but also on that checklist is roof sealants and roofs and stuff like that. So that way, that whenever you go out, that it's going to be taken care of. Now, whenever you're trading in units, Can there be damage? Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people have pets. They have cats, dogs, things like that might mess up the furniture. Also, you may have a unit that does have a little water damage back there in the rear cap. That's why our units are priced the way they are, and that's why we have our salesmen to tell you about that sort of stuff. And so it's really cool. Like I said, we have a total transparency policy here at Wade's RV. So whenever I show units, and most of the guys, whenever you walk in there, if there's water, they're going to tell you that before you even walk in. Hey, there's this spot right up there in that right corner. You may not have even seen it if you weren't looking for it, but we're in these units every single day, so we're going to be able to see those. And there's a lot of first-time campers, like what we had out here earlier this morning, that don't even know what to look for. And that's why you come to see professionals and you come to a reputable dealership so you can see those things firsthand and go ahead and, like I said, that's why our units are priced the way they are. But if not, Brenda can point them out. If you go somewhere else and you haven't experienced the Wade's RV difference, shame on you. But that way Brenda can point those out and show you that, hey, they weren't being totally upfront with you, as what they said. And that's what catches people a lot of the times is they go to a different dealership. They have someone like Brenda come out there and they see, hey, these guys were not very truthful. And then they come out to Wade's RV and see, for one, that the owner is on site. That's one thing I talk about almost every single week, is that Wade is here every single day. It's incredible. I don't know how he works so many hours, but he truly does. And it's really cool that if you go out to the shop, the first bay, that's his bay. That's the one he works out of with his own toolbox. I was giving a tour earlier this week to some of my very longtime loyal customers, Tim Richards. He got an FR3 from me back in the day, but he came on by and he wanted to see exactly the new expansion and the new growth that we've had at Wade's RV. And I was showing him around. Guess where I found Wade? He was actually cutting metal in the shop. I had to stop him because he had sparks going everywhere, but they were able to see that this is not just, talking the talk. He's actually walking the walk. And that's one of the things that makes it so much different, is that Wade has a hand in everything that we do here. And so it's going to be up to the top tier of standards. And you're just going to have a great experience. I was talking to him just earlier this week about just the different expansions that we did. And one of the best improvements that we've done here at Wade's RV is the concrete pads up front. So whenever you come to look at an RV, if you're looking at a motorhome and stuff, we haven't made all the electric all the way down, but we have most of the motorhomes. They're plugged in and lit up so you can see the lights, but more importantly, they're cooled off. And whenever you're looking at RVs, especially when it's warmer, that makes a huge difference overall. And so we want to make sure that you, the customer, have the absolute best experience. And so if you come out here, you're going to see the difference today.
Willie D got a question for you. A texter, 70123 is the number. Type KRMG and then your question. Send it to me at 70123. Willie D, this person wants to know, are there any RV units that are self-contained and can function, especially the air conditioning, that is important, in remote areas without hookups?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, whenever you're talking about water, you're going to have to find water from somewhere. So if you had a water collection, then you probably could get away with it. But otherwise, you will need water. You can do solar panels, so then you have the power. But if you're wanting to go boondocking and you have the AC unit, you're going to need a secondary power source. Those solar panels are not going to produce enough power to go ahead and bring up that compressor. They'll have enough power to run your lights and your heaters and water tanks and stuff like that. But you will need that generator to go ahead and power you up. So if you're going to do a lot of off-the-grid camping, one thing I would suggest is a toy hauler or a motorhome, because 99% of the time they actually come with a generator. So if you're looking to do that kind of camping, look more so towards the toy hauler side. Or what you can do is always put a rack on the back, and then you can put a generator on the rear and then take it with you everywhere. There's tons of different folks that do that. One tip I would say, go ahead and weld that generator onto that rack so no one can get mischievous and try to take it from you, because you can't necessarily say swipe or no swiping and then it's gone. So if you have any questions or you're looking for some units like that, come on out and see us at Wade's RV. Like I said, we'll be open until 5 this evening, or give us a call and set an appointment, and we'll have some up on a front demo pad ready for you to look at, and we'll have someone waiting on you to greet you with a smile. Or if you like hot coffee, we got that waiting for you too.
Great question. You can send yours to 70123 or give us a call, 918-460-KRMG. This is Camping with Wade's RV. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Welcome back. It's Camping with Wade's RV. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. You'll find this show here every Saturday from 12 until 1. And if you miss us or you missed any part of the show today, remember we have a podcast of this broadcast, and it is on the KRMG app. You'll find that each week. You can share it with your friends or listen to us anytime, even if you're out camping. In fact, we'd love to know, Willie D, where people go camping. So if you want to text us your favorite location, maybe give us some tips and tricks yourself, 70123. Let us know where you're going. And Willie D, I know you've been to a lot of places this year. Producer Tim was telling me last weekend that he's got some plans to go out camping too. So, Willie D, what's some of your favorite spots this week?
It's a great weekend to go out camping. I am not going to be out camping. I'm not going to be out rodeoing. I'm going to be here answering all of your questions today until 5. So come on out and see us. But some of my favorite camping spots, I was talking to some folks this week. We went up to the Sport Chassis Factory. So that's in Clinton, Oklahoma. It's about 3 hours away. So we had a lot of time to sit there and chat about our favorite camping spots. They're kind of new to the camping world. They actually just got a new Sundowner toy hauler, which is super cool. And they also just purchased today their brand new Sport Chassis. So that's really cool. But I was telling them about some of my favorite spots. I'm going to start off with Hogan's Off-Road Park. If you don't know about Hogan's Off-Road Park, you got to check it out. It's kind of like going to hang out with some of your old-time family members. Hogan doesn't necessarily have a website where you can go and make online reservations, but what he does have is you can give him a call, ask him if he has a spot. He'll let you know. And whenever you roll up, old Hogan, he'll wander on over there. He'll tell you it's going to be about $20, $30 a night. And then after that, he'll help you get all hooked up and back in. So it's a really family kind of oriented camp. And what I love is every night after dinner, he's out there. He's got a fire pit going, and he's always out there telling tall tales. And so it's really kind of cool. I love Hogan's Off-Road Park. One place I've been looking to go to, and I was actually over there earlier this week, was Roman Nose State Park. So I'm really looking to go to Roman Nose and also Lake Murray, another one of my favorite spots that I have gone to and I do frequent. So if you want to find Willie D camping, you'll probably find me out at Okmulgee Lake or at Fort Gibson. Those are two of my favorite spots. They have really great paths that you can park on and really enjoy yourself. And I just love it. The camp hosts out there are really great people. And so that's part of your camping experience, is your camp host, and then making sure you have a great spot with a great view. And both of those spots will take great care of you. And one of my favorites, New Manford Ramp. So if you want to go somewhere kind of local, New Manford Ramp is a great spot out there. And there's some great people out there that'll take care of you as well. And you'll see one thing in common. There's a lot of Wade's RV stickers out there. So they love the Wade's RV family, and they came and saw the Wade's RV difference. And now they're living it as well. And they're bringing new campers.
Some of my favorite spots, I grew up in Skytook, so Skytook Lake has a beautiful, beautiful section. There's so many places to go see out there. In fact, Willie D, my first job was working on that lake, and so I got spoiled to look out the window, and I got to drive around some golf carts and just enjoy the lake from time to time. That's a beautiful area. I love going to Keystone because of Appalachia Bay. Go ride four-wheelers out there. They've got camping areas. And, of course, my top pick is always Little Sahara, because that's where all the fun is. In fact, that's a very changing landscape. A friend of mine went last weekend for a UTV takeover. We've talked about side-by-sides on the show before, and I used to go out to Little Sahara to ride four-wheelers, and even some people brought dirt bikes, but I think these days that's a little bit of a risk because there's nothing but side-by-sides out there, and you don't want to meet one of those on a trail. So side-by-sides are the way to go out at Little Sahara, but a lot of great camping out there. There's some right on the sand, and there's some over closer into town, too, where it's a little more roomy if you do have a big Class A that you're taking out there. A lot of places in Oklahoma, and Willie D, we love to promote Oklahoma camping because there's so many resources to find it with the State Parks app and, of course, travelok.com and their app. There's a lot of places, and you don't have to drive more than a couple hours.
Absolutely not. You don't have to drive more than a couple hours, and many times you don't even have to drive a full hour to get some of these great locations. Oklahoma has so many great state parks to go to and really explore just the different atmospheres, the different landscapes, and the different people all around Oklahoma. That's one thing I was talking about today, is how we just have such a great culture here, and the people here in Oklahoma as well. We really take care of our neighbors, and I love exploring and just seeing these different parts of town and just the different things that they have to offer. Each park you go to is just going to have its own little niche. And so exploring around, you're going to find your own favorites. Like you said, you love Little Sahara. I like kind of being out in the woods a little bit more. And I'm sure Brenda would have her own as well. And so just get out there and just start exploring. You know, there's nothing worse than spending a weekend just sitting on the couch. Get out there, get some fresh air, and explore nature. I mean, there's been so many people just stuck inside for so long. Get outside, get some of that vitamin D, and go ahead and enjoy yourself. If you're wanting to get an RV, like I said, we're going to be out here until 5 p.m. today, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have, show you any RV that's on the lot, and help you get into the perfect one for you and your family.
You can also check out wadesrv.com. Brenda, how can people get a hold of you if they need to get an RV inspected?
That is awesome. Thank you. My phone for Queen Bee RV inspections is 918-633 633-8969. That's 633-8969. And you can go to queenbeesrv.com. And don't forget to check out girlcamper.com. That was our sponsor here today. And you can find me as their Eastern Oklahoma chapter guide there. Just click on chapter guides and look at the state of Oklahoma. Click on that. And I have a website there too with all of my favorite campground reviews included.